If you told my guest in this podcast that it simply can't be done, then you may want to lace up your gloves because you're going to have a fight on your hands. This is Deep Dive Creatives. If you enjoy diving into people's creative journeys, subscribe to this podcast and hit that like button or hit that follow button. That encourages me to keep making videos just like this. Meet Lori Hammer.
I see things as the world is, but then I see things what they could be. And to me, that's super exciting.
Lori grew up in Toronto, Ontario, and began her career as a professional actor. She could sing, act, and dance, what you would commonly call a triple threat. And because of that, she loved musical theater.
I just love being a part of the musical world. A lot of people love street theater. I love that music brings the emotions that a person feels in a new way, and you get to experience that. To me, musical theater is all the bells and whistles.
Lori later moved out west to Edmonton, Alberta, and it was there she started raising a family, but definitely keeping her creative journey active.
I started a little theater troupe with actor moms. These are just friends of mine who were also going through the same time period that I was, and they didn't have a lot going on, but I wanted to perform for kids. And so we created Kindred Spirits. It comes from a song in Anne of Green Gables, which is also Canadian. And I thought Kindred Spirits was the name of my company. That would work. So we would write shows for kindergartners and play schoolers, so that 3 to 6 age range, which was what all of the little kidlets were that we were all carrying around in our lives. And we would write stories with catchy music and a message. So for instance, and then people they saw our menu of what we were offering and they would pick which show they wanted to see. So we would do Little Red Riding Hood, for instance, and we would pick existing songs and we would do the karaoke version of it with our own lyrics. And we would make it about stranger danger, which very much Little Red Riding Hood is about stranger danger. And we would put it in a modern setting, and the kids would love it. They would kind of recognize the songs, and they would definitely recognize the story, and they would go home and they would talk to their moms and dads about stranger danger. And it was a really cool thing, and we had lots and lots of play schools and kindergartens calling us.
Kindred Spirits functioned for about 3 or 4 years, after which Lori and her family moved south to Salem, Oregon.
I thought the world was going to end moving down here, but it did not. They're apparently very nice people down here. And so now we live here. And some of them are right in front of me.
In 2007, an invitation came to organize a production of Narnia for the community of Salem.
We were attending church at Dayspring in Kaiser, Dayspring Fellowship. And they had a drama team there at the church. And we moved there just after they had auditions for their Christmas play, and I wasn't eligible to be in it because they'd already held auditions. So I was like, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? And I met a bunch of the teens, and they had nothing to do, and they would come to me and say, can we do something? So we did a play, and it was really fun, and we did a little mini tour. I think we went to 4 other churches, and I thought, that's it. And then Gladys Blum, who was a realtor here in town, she's like my mentor, very kind lady, and she sees a tiny thing that could become a big thing. So she was involved with Salem River Fest, I believe it was like 2008, 2007, and she asked me she heard I like to work with teenagers, and would I come direct a version of Narnia. I went to my church and said, is that okay that we do that? And they said, well, sure, as long as you perform one of the performances here at church. Because you're going to be using our resources, our teenagers. It would be really good for everybody. So we did the production at church. I had 25 people that I had set out to be in the play, and by the time performances came, we had 50 teenagers. The costumer was ready to shoot me, but I decided that it shouldn't just be Dayspring, it should be an outreach, because there are other teenagers that don't have anything to do. So I took audition notices and I put them up in Safeway or the Kiwanis Club or what is the one the after school care kids for kids, anywhere I could think of. Churches, I sent them out to, everywhere I could think of. And the church people were kind of like, you're bringing strangers into our church. And I'm like, but that's what we're supposed to do. You know, Jesus did that too. So it eventually got performed, and the costumer did more stuff for me so that 50 kids could have clothing. And it was a great success. It was a great success. And then we got to do it that same year for Salem River Fest. And we did it down by the riverfront, down by the carousel, all down there.
Over 5,000 people saw the performances, and that was only the beginning. Even though Lori was quite content to be creative wherever she was planted, the beginning seeds of a theater company specifically for teens was about to blossom into a full-grown theater company called Salem Kaiser Inspirational Teens, otherwise known as SKIT.
Each thing I've done along the way, whether it was Kindred Spirits or whether it was Dayspring Community Theater, I wasn't looking to become bigger or, oh, what if we grew into this? Yeah. I was just really happy working in the environment that I was, didn't think it would be anything different. So when they were saying, you need to make this a nonprofit and a community-wide thing, no, I don't know how to do that. I can't. I play with teenagers. So eventually, I learned how to do a 501c3, which is the nonprofit document. And in 2008, SKIT was formed. And I'm stunned and humbled that it still exists.
And since 2008, under Lori Hammer's leadership, SKIT has continued to impact both the students involved in the productions, but also the audiences that attend the performances.
Our mission is to just love on kids through theater, but basically to be Christ-like in our approach. We don't preach on the kids, we just provide a Christ-like example. And we hope that they feel safe and loved on, and along the way, maybe learn a theater skill here or there. And I think because the focus has been on their character, not the character they're playing, I think that's evident in the amount of kids that come back. And that makes me really happy that we're doing what I had hoped we would do. My partner in crime, Tammy Johnson, she handles the volunteer management, she handles all the website stuff, and she started out as a food mom. Her daughter was in my 6th grade class. Her daughter was just phenomenally talented in my theater class at a little Christian school, but she'd never been a big fish in a bigger pond. She'd only been the big fish in the little pond. So I encouraged her to try a community show, and it was our very first show. It was High School Musical, and in my mind, she was going to play Sharpay. She was that good. And so Alyssa tried out. She saw the kids around her that she didn't know, and she totally went into her skin, and she took on an ensemble role. She did not play Sharpay, but she had a great experience, met kids, and then the second play took on one of the leads because she felt comfortable now. I knew people.
In May of 2024, Lori took her creative journey literally to a new height by producing a show about a flying car.
There's so many people in the world that tell you you can't do something. And I am a stubborn person. I am energetic. I'm a Spitfire. But if you tell me that I can't do something, it's kind of like drawing a line in the sand and saying, watch me. Because if it's worth us arguing over, it's worth doing. And I'd always wanted to do Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. I think it is the craziest story. It makes no sense in a lot of aspects, but it's magical. And that's the best part of theater, is when you get to leave your life. A lot of the times that people come to our shows and they might be going through a divorce, or grandma just died, or I'm not doing well at school, I'm being bullied. Everybody in the cast and in the audience has junk going on in their life, and they sometimes need to just escape. And to me, we needed to do a big fat escape show, and there is nothing more escaping than Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. So I am gifted by one gentleman who is magical. His name is Alan Halliday. I think he works as an engineer for his uncle's company, but he knows how to take that skill, that technical skill, and turn it into an art. And it is magical. And he's done things like, for the Wizard of Oz, he made an 8-foot tall wizard's head that the jaws moved and steam came out of his eyeballs. And he's done well, I wouldn't say that's a small project, but he's done smaller projects. And then I had to go to Alan when I had the bee in my bonnet that I wanted to do Chitty Chitty Bang Bang and say, Alan, if we're going to do this, we've got to do it right. And he goes, oh, I've been hoping you were going to do it. Because we would toss the idea around for years. And he goes, I need a year. I'm like, okay. So we're planning on doing it, I believe it was 2023. I'd have to check my dates because I have a thing in my phone now with all of this because we've done so many plays. But he said, I need a year and you will have it. And I'm like, well, you could just use a golf cart and put sides on it. No, we are not doing it if we're not doing it right. And he would send me videos along the way of, I got this done and I got that done. And then every single time we come up with a project, he teaches himself something that he didn't know how to do to make it work. He didn't know how to use a 3D printer, so he taught himself how to use that so that the parts that he couldn't generate by his metalworking skills, he had made them on 3D printing, like the inside spokes of the wheels.
Wow.
It was just amazing. And then he built the whole frame on a lift and then we covered it in black fabric so that it could go around the stage and then it would come up and it would look like the people were flying and then they would come down. And it was the thing that was, I don't know which part was more fun. Watching the kids, they would see the videos that Alan would send me of the steps along the way. The day he figured out how to make the horn sound like an old horn. The day that the wheels went on and the lift came up and they just got to experience the joy that I did with all the steps along the way. Yeah. But then there was the unexpected joy I felt when all the dads in the audience would see that car, and I'm not kidding you, he was a celebrity with fangirls all around him. These dads that wanted to know, like Tim the Toolman. Yeah. They wanted to know all the details, and Alan was just gracious and humble, and he would always just tell them what they wanted to know.
I'm quite certain that as Lori talks about that elusive thing that requires imagination, ingenuity, and resourcefulness, you will be inspired to go along with her down that wild path called creativity. Let's dive in. Give me a definition of creativity.
To me, creativity is when your imagination hits the page. It's just that moment, that spark, and you could be sitting watching a TV show and go, I never thought of this, but you could just do, like it's that moment. It just could be a tiny spark of an idea, and then you just need to go with it. And again, the realistics of the world will say, no, you can't do that. Or we're going to talk about the stage size, or we're going to talk about budgets, or we're going to talk about all the things, the can'ts. But creativity is just a spark, and it's just put it to paper, and where can this spark grow into?
Yeah. Talk a bit about your creative process.
For me, there's the spark when I should be paying attention in church, but it distracts me and maybe I get an idea. And what I will do is I will get the script that I'm thinking about, or the movie or whatever, and then I will bring a blank pad beside me. And I will just read through it, and I'll jot some notes down along the way, or thoughts that it makes me feel, or whatever. And then maybe I'll go, like it's Holes. Holes was the second play we did, and it had a really good message, and I really liked that. And I only knew about that because my daughter brought it home to read, and she was struggling with reading, so it was like one of the first chapter book kind of things. And so I thought, that's kind of a cool one. So then I've done my first read through, and I've jotted some notes and some questions and some feelings, and then I'll go I'll research a couple other things. Are there other plays like this? Are there other books like this? Tell me what it's like to go to a teen prison camp. Tell me what it's like to go. What would it be like to be separated from your mom at this prison? All these things. I'll start to just do some research about sort of things that kind of might relate to the topic that is my germ. Yeah. And then I'll add them to my notes. And then I'll go back when I've got all of my research, And by this point, we've got all kinds of separate pieces of paper. And I will try to condense all the pages to one idea, one page of solidified thoughts, because sometimes things start to repeat. And then I will read the play again. And then if I see myself starting to block it on those pieces of paper, I know I'm hooked.
Yeah.
And for me, it's just pen to paper, letting the thoughts fly, letting them come out your hand and seeing where it goes. And then if I see troubles that are too big a logistics things, I can't do Peter Pan because I don't have a space for somebody to fly, and I really need them to fly. So if it's something like that, or the message doesn't honor the human spirit, at that point I'll recognize what the troubles are and I will walk away. But if it's something that I think, nope, I think I can conquer this problem. We did that with Footloose. Was one of the edgier plays we had done, and we had some SKIT families walk away. They thought it was too edgy. There were swear words in it. But I had seen the movie and I had seen the play. So then once I saw the play, I was like, this is not the edgy feel that the movie had. I don't know how my language can be on this podcast, but in the movie, the girl is portrayed quite sleazy. She really wants to experience life because she's so sheltered by her pastor father. But I saw in the play something different. You don't have to play her as sleazy. She's just like every other teenager that is struggling to be heard and feeling squelched by your parents. It could be a tomboy, it could be a girly girl, it could be anybody who feels they're not being heard. And all I saw from that pastor dad was somebody who was trying to protect the soul of his daughter. And to me, it was worth taking on the battle. And I get teary talking about it, but there were families that walked away from SKIT because they thought, Lori'd lost her mind. You can't do that play. But I got permission from New York, from the authors, to remove the 11 swear words. And they told me the words I had to use. And then I just started, when I had auditions, I let the kids know, this is my heart. This is what I think is making this play worth doing. Yes, the music is wonderful. Yes, the dancing is going to rock their socks. But I think this whole play is about that dad doing everything he can think of to protect his daughter's soul. Yeah. And eventually, hopefully, the daughter will open her eyes to see my dad loves me. He's not trying to squelch me. Yeah. And if you haven't seen the play versus the movie, you need to go see the play of Footloose because it really is, it will touch your heart. So for me, again, so just to recap, if the troubles are not going to help my message, then I'm going to walk away. If they're worth fighting for, then I'm going to take on the president. I don't care who I have to take on because I can see what this could do for somebody in the audience or in the cast.
Nice. What do you like best about the process? The conception or the grinding it out?
I love the conception. Okay. I love the grinding it out. But I love when the light goes on.
Nice.
And the light goes on, it could be in Alan Halliday when he catches the vision for the car. It could be when the light goes on. I've had 2 young men come along the way in different times that one of them played, what's the country guy in Footloose? Willard.
Okay, yeah.
And he was one of my students at school, and no, Lori, I hate musicals. No, I'll do a play for you, but that's all I'm going to do. And he was adamant, like arms crossed, stomp your feet, adamant that he was never going to do a musical. And then finally, we did Footloose, and I said, I need you. I need your help. I don't have manly guys. I don't have a guy that would be able to come in. He goes, I don't do musicals. Yeah, I know. It's been said. But I see when you're with your friends that you love to dance. And I see that you can sing because you're clowning around and doing it with your friends. So let's humor me and try it one time. And he came and he hugged me at the end of it. And he goes, I get it. I get it.
Nice.
That to me is worth all the naysayers, all the troubles, all the hardships, all the whatever. It's when the light goes on. And if it can be your designer of the car, great. But if it can be at the teenagers, even better. Because then they believe in theater, but they believe in themselves. They've suddenly seen that I succeeded at something. And it's almost like, when you're in a dream and you're watching yourself do something, that's what you can see that they've watched themselves being Willard or being whatever, and they suddenly go, I didn't suck. I was good. And they believe in themselves. And that's for me the best part, when the light bulb goes on.
What inspires you to work in this industry of theater and working with kids? What inspires you to do that?
It's all about those tender hearts. I truly have a tender heart monitor, I think, for teenagers. I tend to be, you can't see it on film, but I tend to be a volatile person. And Happy Lori's great. Tech Week Lori, not so great. So I tend to work with teenagers because I'm also sarcastic, and they can handle my sarcasm right back with their own. But for little kids, no. I provide opportunities for little kids, but I'm not the one that they should be with. I scare them. So I try to, the thing that inspires me is finding the right people with the right students and providing an opportunity for something to be created. Yeah. Whether it's with the Skittles, the little kids, or whether it's with the SKIT teenagers, my inspiration is always, what can I do to make a light go on? What can I do? Sometimes it's in the parents, and they come to me and they go, my child is singing in his room right now. That's never happened. We are a soccer family. We are a football family, whatever. And my daughter is now singing opera or musical theater, whatever. So for me, you just never know who's going to change their mindset. And that is critical to win over the families. Because if you've got a soccer or a football family, there's a regimented schedule, and we are already really busy. But now, out of nowhere comes this love of musical theater, and now that's going to be added into our schedule. There's a young girl called Sophie Pass. She did many, many plays for us. She was our Elsa when we did Frozen. She was the crazy Baroness in Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. She was Annie. In 6th grade, she did all the lines and songs for Annie. And that girl can belt it out of the park. But she would come in her cleats, and she would come in straight off the field. And her mom was like, I don't even know where this comes from. It is nowhere in our family. And she can do these things, and you saw it. And it's just amazing to me. What's inside people that they don't know is inside them.
Are there individuals?
Yes.
That you get inspiration from?
Initially, when we moved to Salem, I heard about the great Linda Baker from McNary High School. She's an icon. She had taught many years, done many great plays. And so when I was being nudged out of the nest, as it was, out of Dayspring and to create SKIT, I went to Linda and I said, here's what I'm doing. I was so nervous to meet her. I had 2 different boots on that day. And she will corroborate that. I went to her to ask her questions. What does it take to be a leader, a woman who's a leader in theater? What does it take to start a theater company? Where do you go for the rights to plays? Like, I asked her bare basic questions because I had done it in a church setting on a very limited scale, but I needed to know how to do the big stuff. And she was very kind, very patient, gave me lots of answers. And she kind of kicked my butt and got me going and said, if you believe in you, I believe in you.
Nice.
And so she was absolutely the first one. There are people that aren't in my life that are inspirations, like Barbara Streisand and Bette Midler, because I think it's strong women. I'm always attracted to strong women who get things done. Yeah. I believe that you have to find something that tugs your heartstrings. And both of those ladies have done projects that tugged their heartstrings, and they fought. And Barbara Streisand has a horrible reputation of being a perfectionist because she wants it done the way she envisioned it. And so for me, it's always going to be, what story catches my heart? What has some redeeming characters for females? And what can we do with that? I struggled to do, we just did this past year, in May of 2026, we did Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat.
Yeah.
I was in this play as the narrator when I was 18, and I've loved this play a long time. And for those who don't know, it's an operetta. It means it's modern music, but there's no dialogue. The entire story is told through song. But I struggled with it because it was terrible for female parts. It has one narrator and Potiphar's wife, who is very sleazy, again with the sleazy. It didn't seem to me to have redeeming features for women. And I need guys to feel good about themselves, and I need girls to feel good about themselves. So it took a long time for me to be willing to go to the land of Joseph, but I started to figure out, well, actually, we could have 3 narrators, like a Greek chorus. That would be kind of cool. And that would be 3 parts for girls. And then I had so many talented girls that I did 2 groups of 3, and I had a cast A and a cast B, so that we were alternating every night with the 3 narrators so that everybody got a chance to shine. And that was what it was about. Yes, the part of Potiphar's wife was still what she is, but I wanted to focus on her as like one of the mean girls, that kind of, or Devil Wore Prada kind of character. Not so much sex, more commanding, bossy, take charge, run over people. And so I tried to change the context of her a little bit. And then I made half the brothers females, complete with wigs and mustaches. And unfortunately, they had to sing down the octave. But it was fun to come up with ways to find redeeming characters for the females.
How do you overcome challenges in your work, and how do you deal with like creative dry spells? Like
the poopy people.
There we go.
And dry spells come. After our very first play, High School Musical, I was like, well, that was one of my most creative things I've ever done. That was really fun. I get nothing now. I get nothing. That's it. I'm used up at play 1. I have nothing left to give. But then creativity comes when you're not looking for it. And my daughter brought home Holes. And she decided, Mom, I can't. This is a crazy book. I don't understand it. I can't read all the words. So we just started reading it together, and it caught my attention. So my job is cheerleader. We've talked about that a little bit. I definitely am a cheerleader. My job is to get people on board so they want to work really hard, is really what I need to get them to do. And I use my hands a lot when I talk. I get people excited because I believe in something that I've spent the time doing my research and everything. Now my job is to get you to believe in it so that you can go, actually, we could build a real car. Actually, we could build a 4 to 8 foot ceiling kind of Wizard of Oz head. I really just need to be that cheerleader and find ways to diffuse the problems and infuse the beliefs. Is that the opposite of diffuse? I think so.
I don't know.
Yeah, so I have to find a way. Well, we can't this and we can't that and we can't that. So I need to, as the cheerleader, go away and find alternatives to what we can do. So if I can't get Peter Pan to fly, well, I need to go away from that and just mull on it for a while and think what I can do. FYI, I've still never done Peter Pan because I can't figure out how to get him to fly. But yes, you've got to infuse the people with enthusiasm to make them go away and think of creative things, and you've got to diffuse the problems. The dry spells have come from me, absolutely, and the only thing that works for me is to walk away. Walk away from it, leave that pile sitting on the dining room table, and every time I go by, look at it with anger, and then think about it, you know what? And then I'll come back a few days later, and all of a sudden I find myself writing down a couple of alternatives or ideas, and the dry spell is gone. So for me, it works to step away, clear your brain, go see a movie, go have family time, do anything, because worrying it and eating it like a dog with a bone is not going to help solve the problem. For me, I have to walk away, clear my head, and then go, oh, shoot, I just thought of it. And then I'm back in action.
Have you had things that just didn't work out, like building a prompt? And so talk about, choose one of those and tell me, how did you overcome it? How did you deal with it?
We did. I wanted to do a play one year, James and the Giant Peach. cool play, cool movie. But it happens, some of the scenes happen inside the peach and some of them happen outside in the world. So I wanted the dads to build me just a riser that had a round exterior behind it so you would see, oh, they're in the peach. Right. And then it needed to be on a revolve so we could see inside and we could see outside. Well, one of my frustrations with my volunteers sometimes is it has to look like it will withstand a hurricane, but it doesn't really have to withstand a hurricane. So when you put the 5 actors on the peach with the revolve, it weighed over 1,100 pounds. That's not a working situation, especially when you're on headset and the stage manager comes on board and he goes, Lori, it won't turn anymore. Well, push harder. No, it's stuck. It won't turn. We'll go back the other way. No, then we'll be inside the peach again. Well, you can't just stay there, because then it was like you could see half inside and half outside. So he got it to go backwards a little bit. And then when the play was over we finished the play that way. And when the play was over that night, we lifted the entire 1,100 pounds. No, because the kids were off it by then. So whatever poundage it was, right. We lifted it off and saw that they had worked so hard at turning it, they had ripped the carpet at the church. So, yay, now I have to call a carpet repair guy and repair the church's carpet and then see how we can fix this solution. So in all aspects, other than the kids had a great time, James and the Giant Peach was not a success because we didn't agree before the play started. We didn't agree on the schematics for the peach. If I'd known it weighed 800 pounds or 700 pounds or whatever it weighed without the kids, I would have said, no, that's not going to work. We need to go back at it again. The other thing that didn't work was graphically, I needed it to say, we were doing 2 plays that night. So the opening act was Go Dog Go, and the closing act was James and the Giant Peach. I wanted to do a family night. I wanted to do younger theater, always exposing my teenagers to different styles of theater. And I thought Go Dog Go and James and the Giant Peach worked great together. But unfortunately, the dad who was working with me on the graphics, he wanted the main thing that people saw on the poster to say family night at the theater, which it was, but no one's ever heard of that. And then Go Dog Go and James and the Giant Peach were in small letters down below. So we didn't sell a lot of tickets because I didn't fight for the poster that I wanted. Mm. And then we had extra costs because I didn't fight for the schematics. Again, I'm not a builder, so those were thoughts and words that I wouldn't know the questions to ask. Now, years later, I've learned a little bit more, but yeah, you've got to fight for what's in your gut and get it clearly explained by your helpers or illustrate more clearly what you want it to be. Right. Otherwise, it's just going to be a frustrating experience like that was. The little kids loved it, and Go Dog Go was super cute, really colorful, lots of fun, didn't ruin the carpet, but I firmly believe we would have sold more tickets if we'd been able to highlight the 2 plays we were doing rather than the made-up title. Yeah.
What motivates you to keep creating?
What motivates me to keep creating? It's simple. 3 letters. Joy. It gives me freaking joy to be creative. I don't know how to do anything other than, if you saw my wardrobe, it's color from one end to the other. I love color. I love creativity. I love things that are unexpected. So for me, creativity gives me joy. Whether it's painting things and making things for my kids, whether it's making a play for the teenagers, and the joy of seeing them as they're experiencing the play. Maybe it's a comedy, the Pink Panther, and they've never heard comedy like this. It's stupid. Those of you who don't know, Pink Panther is stupid, but it's funny stupid. And so it's joy within me to keep creating, within the kids, when they're seeing the humor or the sadness or whatever it is, the joy in their hearts. You can tell how people feel. They might be quiet and they might be shy, but you can always tell their emotions, or most of the time, and you can tell when somebody feels joyful. And for me, that's what keeps me going. What can I do that I haven't done yet?
Do you have a personal philosophy about creativity?
My personal philosophy is the sky's the limit. There is no limit to what you can do if you put your mind to it. However, there is a caveat to that within a person's comfort. Okay. I know very many times I've been ready to ride that horse of creativity into the wisp and just, we're going to do this, it's going to be great. And then I've seen the remains of students who weren't quite sharing the joy that I was. So I have learned over the years, it's great for me to be a cheerleader. It's great for me to be all excited and all in, but I need to be even more aware of the comfort level of everyone around me. And it's a difficult thing to do sometimes in SKIT. We have kids from all over Salem Kaiser, Mount Angel, Jefferson, Wilsonville. Like, we have kids from everywhere. And we also have kids from no church to full church, conservative, to meth parents. We've had everything under the docket. So I really need to be aware of all the different comfort levels that people come to the stage with. I've got to be sensitive to their hearts. So I will be as crazy and creative as I can, but thankfully I've learned not to beat up on people's hearts. I need to be kind.
Nice. I said we would get back to this. You said you're not done yet.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that. What do you have creative goals? What are your creative goals?
My creative goals, definitely not done yet. I am definitely turning over the reins of SKIT after year 20. So that's going to be creative in how we do that. But I think there are shows that I haven't got to direct yet, and I hope to get to direct them. There are shows I haven't acted in yet. Oh, I would love to act in them. I don't know what's coming next, but my goal is to be open to the knock at the door. My goal is to be, you know when you have the two angels on your shoulders? There's the devil and there's the angel. And one's telling you can't do things and the other one's going, go Lord, you're awesome. For me, creativity is the creative angel on, not the poo-poo, we got rid of him. But I want to always be open to that positive voice in my head that says, you can do it, you're awesome. So that's the thing with creativity. You never know when it's going to tap you on the shoulder. And I absolutely want to be there ready to do that. So for next year, Alyssa, the one I talked about that was so scared to be in High School Musical, she's now my assistant director. And so she directs a play a year and I direct a play. She's going to be directing Get Smart. Another stupid comedy, but very funny. And all of our audience parents will totally know it. Yeah. The kids that have already read the script, they've never heard of it. They don't know anything about it. So it's fun watching. The lights will go on. Yeah. Again, I get to direct Anastasia the musical. So I get to bring old-time Russian feel to the audience. And I'm very excited about that. And a family that was torn apart by war and many of their members of the family were killed. I can't wait to talk about that with the kids. Yeah. So for me, yep, I'm not done yet. The only thing that I'm excited after that, for my last play for directing, we're going to go back to Anne of Green Gables. Because it is, people ask me all the time, what is my favorite play that I've ever done? And I change it all the time because I have no, it's like you can't love your child more than the other child. But Anne of Green Gables touches my heart. And if I'm going to give the reins to someone, I'm going to go back to a very warm place in my heart. Nice. So we're going to get to do that, and then I just, after that, I'm going to be open to what creativity is going to be knocking on my door, what that little angel's going to say.
Do you think there are threats to creativity? And if so, what do you believe are threats?
The threats are the legalistic people The threats are the people that feel threatened by you in their space. It's the negativity. You can't. The size of the stage is too small. The budget is too big. All those things are threats to creativity. Now, I understand in this day and age, you need the money aspect of it. You need the legal aspect of it. You've got to figure out a way to do that fun thing you want to do, but be able to pay for it. Otherwise, COVID's going to come and you're going to be closed. But for me, all of the square box thinking, that's a threat to creativity. So I have to try when I'm creating to go, okay, what are they going to say that's a challenge that I need to have thought about in advance? So I'm going to try really hard to not let the square box people have the last say, because you know what? I actually thought about that, and here's what we should do. The other threat can be your own ego. As a director, I don't ever want to be caught thinking, I am awesome. That was like some fine work, Lori. No, I didn't give myself these skills. These are all learned. They're God-given. And it's just, you cannot get in your own way. You cannot be egotistical and self-involved, because you're doing a nonprofit, and it's not about you. It's about the people you serve. So I would say square box people and your own ego are the two main things I see as challenges to creativity.
What words of creative inspiration can you share? Some parting shots.
My parting shots, my go, you can do this kind of wording.
Yes.
I would say don't ever let somebody tell you can't do something. They might be right. They might be right. But if someone tells you can't do something, maybe they really are saying you can't do that just yet. Maybe they're saying you need to go away and figure out how can we make it happen. If you're that person that has a passion about something, then you need to go away and keep thinking about it till you can figure out how to make it happen. And there will always be someone there to tell you can't. Who cares? You need to just hear what they're saying and not get frustrated, you just got to get busy. And you got to think about, all right, I can't do, that darn Peter Pan. I can't do Peter Pan yet. I need to think, how can I give the illusion? Like, do I have a backdrop behind that's going down while he's going up and gives the illusion that he's flying? Like, there's all kinds of things. Yeah. So, don't let anybody tell you can't do something. They mean you can't do it just yet, or they mean you haven't found the way to do it, but it's up to you, the passionate one, the angel on your shoulder, telling you, all right, go away. Figure out some solutions that are alternatives to make what you need to happen, and you'll get it done.